Yes, Sarah, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to continue with our presentation today. And I will just say that today the subject is relationship and emotions in the caregiving work. I think we all know that our work. To say that today we're going to have a guest, Margareta. If you will introduce her later, did you tell us about the guest?
I will. Yeah, of course, later. Yeah, sure. All right. Oh, I think something went wrong with the connection. So maybe I'll use this pause and because I think we lost Sarah, so hope she will join soon. So I will mention that Zanat also wrote to you in the group. For the second part of today's meeting, we also asked caregiver from Philippines who came here to Israel a few years ago, not like you under G2G. She still had to use the services of private agencies, but she's working in the same work like you are. She's a caregiver, and we thought it would be important for you to hear from her experience, and maybe if you have any questions to ask her, so you will have this opportunity for the second part of this meeting. I'm just exactly this time sending her a reminder to join us for the second half. And again, hope you will enjoy it. It would be interesting and also helpful for you and useful. And I think Sarah is still not connected, so we will wait maybe 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what's with my internet. Okay, so hopefully it won't do it again. So until we meet with Lisa, I would like to talk about emotion and relationship in our caregiving work. So what is care? The word care has a double meaning. On the one hand, it emphasizes care activities such as bathing, dressing, or feeding someone. On the other hand, care is also feelings of concerns such as caring or affection from the caregiver towards the patient. When we care about someone, we usually feel commitment and responsibility towards him. Well, I think we all can understand that this is very basic. When we care about someone, we feel committed and, of course, responsible for care work. Oh, sorry, something happened here for a minute. Okay, my screen share kind of changed. Okay. Care work has been defined as work. Am I connected?
Yes, you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, for a minute I couldn't see you. Care work has been defined as work that provides.
But we can't, Sarah, we can see the presentation.
Oh, really? Oh, so I don't know what's going on here with my computer. 1 minute. Okay. Let me share the screen again. For some reason it disappeared. So we'll do it again when we got disconnected. Okay, very good. Sorry about that, everyone. Yes. Okay, so as I said before, care work. Definition of care work has been defined as the work that provides services based on sustained personal interaction and is motivated, at least partly, by concern about others. Care work involves creating a relationship with the patient and his family. The relationship is the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected on the state of being connected. We talked previously on our previous interaction about building a relationship and also about building a trust relationship. So I think that's the core of all care relationship that's, has trust and of course commitment and of course personal interaction. So interpersonal relationship, well, let's see what that's all about. Interpersonal relationship is an association between two or more people that may range from fleeting to enduring. In our case, it's a very enduring relationship that we're going to be having with our employer and of course his family. This association may be based on care, solidarity, regular business interaction, or some other type of social commitment. Well, there is a business interaction here, obviously, but much more. The relationship you create with your patient, and I stress, and his family, is an interpersonal relationship, right? They're going to be very much interpersonal. The meaning and importance of a relationship. Well, relationships provide the opportunity for three key benefits: exchange of support, social engagement, and a sense of worth. Exchange of support, well, this is very, very, very important, because as much as your client, your employer needs your support in every way, a compromise situation, and you need your employer's support in all negotiations outside of the home, obviously, and of course within the home as well, right? There's no one more that knows your client or patient more than the family itself, and how best to interact with them and what pleases them and how to make your job more professional. So support, very important. Social engagement, well, you know what? You're going to be there 24/7 for 6 days a week. And so this is your social life as well, in a big sense as well. So obviously, this is also social engagement and a sense of worth. Everyone needs to feel that they are doing a good job and that they are, being appreciated. So this is important for you as well as for your employer. All major ingredients for formulating well-being of both sides of the relationship. I think that if you don't feel that you're appreciated, you'll have a hard time staying in that position, right? In every job, we need to feel that we are appreciated. So components of a relationship. On the surface of a relationship, there are needs, desires, and abilities. And under the surface of a relationship, expectations, knowledge, and emotions. I think this goes for both the employer and, of course, for the caregiver, right? Both have needs, desires, and abilities. Both caregiver and patient have needs for listening, for attention, for honesty, and for feeling respected. And of course, both have desires. Both the caregiver and the patient have desires for listening, attention, honesty, and feeling respected. And of course, abilities. Both the caregiver and the patient have abilities, right? Ability to listen and to respect each other. All of these are very important, and you share that with your employer and his family. And of course, under the surface of a relationship, there are expectations, knowledge, and emotions. Both the caregiver and the patient have needs, to have good treatment, to keep the family involved. I want to talk about keeping the family involved, because this is something very important. It's important for you, and it's important for your client or patient or employer, whichever way you want to refer to them. You're going to need the family's support and knowledge on how to best care for your client, right? For your employer, because they know him best and they know what is necessary. And on the same way, he also needs you in order to maintain perhaps the relationship with his friends and his family members. So be proactive. Find out if there is maybe a family WhatsApp group or any other kind of media that everyone participates in, that you can also assist your employer in participating in if they are not so computer savvy, if they're not so good on the internet, and give proactive reports. This week was good. This week we had a few difficult days or moments. Be proactive and allowing and assisting your employer and maintaining his relationships. People get lazy, get down. So help them do it. Help them be motivated, not to wait for the grandchildren, right? To initiate the interaction. Very important. And in terms of what is good care in their eyes, absolutely. So you need to know how to care for your employer, and he knows best what's good for him. And if he's not making proper decisions and so on, then there's you to make maybe assisting judgments, on how things should be done. And of course, to use the interaction of the family to consult with them if there is an issue that needs to be consulted. And of course, emotions. Both the caregiver and the patient have emotions, and they can both be positive and negative. Empathy, along with longing. I'm assuming that you are also in a state of adjusting, being isolated, being far from family, friends, culture, your previous life. And in many ways, you have similarities in the life that your client or employer is leading, being distanced and separated from his past life, from all of the activities and so on, perhaps many activities, not all, that he has been part. In this way, you have a lot of things that you can share, and of course help each other. That's the best. The connection between the two layers of the relationship, the needs, the desires, the abilities, the expectations, the knowledge, and the emotions. That is all that, is involved in an emotional relationship. Care work as emotion work. Care work is often defined as emotion work, right? We all know that. We're not bus drivers. We're not technicians. We are emotion work, right? And the more that we are sensitive to what we feel and how we deal with things, and also how our employers, how the people around us, not just what they're saying, but to try to understand what they're feeling by what they are saying or not saying, and so on. And we talked about the different types of communications, especially the nonverbal communication, how important that is, and how important it is for us to be observant, right? Very important to be observant and listeners. So care work is often defined as emotion work. Emotion work can be defined as work that involves emotions arise, and work that requires to express emotions. It can also be defined as managed to maintain a relationship. It is only emotions will arise, both positive and negative. Each emotion is legitimate. This is very important that um, you're going to feel in many ways isolated and alone, perhaps in many hours of the day and night. And it's very important that you also learn to deal with all of your emotions in ways that, would not compromise your work, but would allow you to do your work and also deal with your emotions. And in that way, it means that you have to build some kind of a support group, perhaps online with friends or with other caregivers. Hopefully this is what we're trying to do here. Through these lectures and so on, and by providing some kind of a group that you can perhaps consult with. And of course there's the care center, and you have the family, and you also have the social worker in the agency. And try to build friends, when you go outside and you meet people, perhaps other caregivers in the neighborhood or in any place, in any situation. It's possible to make friends, and it's very important to be connected. It's important for you to be connected, not to feel isolated. And it's very important for everyone, for our client, for your employer, very important for him to be connected. And you can, of course, assist in that, which is what I was saying. Very important that you find the ways to build your own strength up, emotional and physical strength, okay? If you pray, pray. If you meditate, meditate. If you exercise, sing, whatever it is that you need to do, discuss with your employer how and when would be an appropriate time to do all of those things, okay? Along with the emotions you have towards your patient, remember to be self-compassionate towards yourself. This is what I'm talking about. It's important to recognize your own emotions, identify them, and give them space and acknowledge. Perhaps you want to write a journal or a blog, or somehow deal with the kinds of things that are difficult for you, right? Being away from family, friends, whatever it is. But find good ways to deal with those things. If you feel any negative emotions, do not suppress them. Do not be left alone with your feelings and emotions. You can always find someone to talk to, friends, family, and of course the agency. So tips for creating a good relationship. Be mindful of how you start a conversation. Ask open questions. Use the I statement. We mentioned that several times, and we repeat it because it's so essential. Be specific in the message that you want to transfer, okay? When English is not your first language, and English perhaps is not the first language or at all the language that your employer is using, then you must concentrate on being very specific, short messages, right? Short and brief and specific messages, one at a time, and give others the attitude that you want to receive. I think this is, the basis for all relationships, for any kind of interaction that we want to have with our surroundings, whether it's our employer, friends, or family. So, right, if we give the people the attitude that we want to receive, and smile. Let's have a smile from everyone. Okay, smile tells a lot. Important tool. We got to smile. So, as we invite you to participate, ask questions that you'd like to bring up, This is a very good opportunity to do so. What are your expectations from the relationship with your patient? What do you think your patient's expectations are from you? What feelings do you think may arise during caregiving work? And how do you usually express your feelings? How do you feel in general about care work? I invite you to participate and share or ask questions. Anyone would like to start? Anyone?
No questions at all.
Okay.
And any emotions?
Okay, here we go. We have Hona. Hi, Hona.
Hi, Mom.
Would you like to share?
Yes, Mom.
Please do.
My expectation from my employer is that I am expecting my Emma to treat me as her own family. And she's expecting in return that I will treat her like my own mommy.
Okay. So she's sitting next to you and she agrees,
Okay.
which is very nice. Okay. That's nice.
That's why we always bond together, Mom. Like this during afternoon, we're drinking coffee together.
Okay, that's wonderful. And so,
yes, and
okay.
during night, we always have 1 hour to study English and Hebrew. I am teaching her English and she's teaching me Hebrew.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So
you already have a common goal besides taking care of each other, learning languages. That's wonderful. Oh, that's so nice to see. But you know, Hona, and I'm saying this to, to the rest of us, this is only one type of expectation. And I think that not everyone has the same expectations from, from our employer or from our caregiver. Sometimes people don't expect the caregiver to be part of the family. Sometimes they expect them, to take a side bench, so to speak, to be on the peripheral, of the family circle, and that's okay too, if this is what they, if that's where their needs are. And I always say that I'm not sure that I'm quite sure that I wouldn't want to be called Ima by anyone except my own children. So, this is kind of a negotiation that is appropriate to do between the caregiver and, and the care receiver, how they want to be called and what, what kind of a relationship and where they want to put them. Sometimes, you do sit with the family and eat with them or with your employer, and sometimes you eat different things and so on and so forth. It's okay. It's all okay. But I'm just saying it's something that, that you have to be sensitive to in terms of what's appropriate for you and what's appropriate for your employer. Okay. And yeah, sometimes people may not want to be part of the family. Sometimes they want to, to have some kind of, when we do emotional work, we all have to put borders around ourselves, to not to fall apart because we get so involved and we get so, we have to keep some kind of, how should I say, a professional border. And it's so much harder when we are a 24-hour caregiver, right? Because we do get involved and we do care and we do love our employer and so on. And so in order to guard ourselves, not to fall apart and to keep a professional kind of distance at some point, but everyone makes their own borders, right? On how much they're in and how much they're out. But yes, there is that aspect of borders. And so thank you for Hona for sharing that, and your employer, Sarah, thank you for being part of this interaction here with us. Would anyone else like to share or ask a question about anything we spoke about?
Quiet. Maybe we'll say the comments or something that Hona shared with the group together with the employer, and Sarah said, negotiation. I think it's also, lucky. It's lucky for both of you that you have, same expectations, because sometimes, one side wants something one and another side wants something different. For example, there could be a family that wants a caregiver to be a part of the family, and caregiver would be, would like to be more professional and less to be a part of the family, or the opposite. The other caregiver would love to join a family and to be a part of the family and treat his or her or he client as a family member, but the client would not be interested in that. So it's also very important at some point to share and maybe to to adjust, to accept, because at the end of the day, this relationship should work for both sides, including emotionally, which is quite complicated.
Absolutely, Margareta, thank you. You're so right. Sometimes when we don't have the right kind of match for expectations, it could be difficult to maintain the work situation. You're absolutely right. So Hona and Sarah are lucky that they both agree on that, and that's important.
Yes, wow.
Anyone else? Okay, Evelyn, would you like to share?
Oh, wait. Something wrong.
Okay, if you don't have a good connection, perhaps without the camera, we can hear you better, but we're waiting for you.
Yeah, wait, just one moment, please.
Go ahead. Oh, sure, we're waiting. Good.
Hi, I think I'd rather agree with Ma'am Sarah. Border we did the good relationship. I think we need to work professionally. For us to maintain the good relationship, we need to put the border so that we're not going to over. The respect is still there. Whatever happens, still you're going to see your client as your employer.
Okay, so you think of keeping a bit of an emotional distance would help you in maintaining a better professional perspective of your work.
Yep.
Being involved or not, it's just a matter of how you interact with your, yes, that's, keeping a distance emotionally involved, but we do want to be emotionally involved. It's backward, one step forward, us, client, one employee, we negotiate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, say something? I like your name.
Yeah. I want to share the feelings of how to handle a emotional, endings, or in a manner that in a matter that I feel that it's so horrible and so toxic, and the one thing that I do is to is to go out and take a deep breath, and then when you take a deep breath, you let go of all the toxic and the bad situation around around the house, or the emotion that we feel to other person, and just going to get to lose all the bad feelings or toxic inside.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, right. It can be very overwhelming, right? And it can really suck us in emotionally because we love and we care and we do work. And sometimes it's very frustrating. You're very right. So I'm glad that you have a way that you have learned to deal with this, being, not being overwhelmed. Take a deep breath and let all the toxins out with each breath that you take in. That's wonderful. I do yoga, and that's what they teach us. So do you also do yoga?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But I do a little exercise that makes my mind to be open and refresh for the day.
That absolutely helps. Absolutely helps. Taking long, deep breaths is very calming and very refreshing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Mom.
Would anyone else like to share something or ask? Anyone else? Okay, so we can take a 5-minute break. Margareta, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here with you, and I would like maybe also make additional comment before we go to the break.
Sure.
And maybe George would like to say something before then.
George,
George,
you have something you want to say?
just can muted himself.
No.
Yes, no? No, probably not. I just wanted to say, generally speaking, the topic of emotions and sharing the emotions, it could be quite challenging. It's not, maybe sometimes it's not, especially when we're talking about less pleasant emotions. Yeah, when maybe we we are happy, we're having a good time. It's easier for us to share these emotions than more challenging ones, and it also requires some effort. And again, in a relationship, it requires a mutual effort, both for you to find a constructive way to share your emotions if needed with your employer, and also to be able to allow for your employer to share his or her emotions, and to be okay with that, to contain that. So it also requires I would say, a professionalism, and as Sarah mentioned, that's a job. Yeah, it can be emotionless. Yeah, because of interpersonal relationships. I would just like maybe to add another reminder that I'm sure that was already mentioned by Sarah and Anat during previous meetings. Just a cultural context of sharing emotions. Just to remember that Israeli very generous with expressing the emotions, and sometimes it can be even misinterpreted, like that them being angry or them being passionate about something, too passionate, when it's just a way of speaking. So just also please remember that sometimes very expressive Israelis, not necessarily being angry or upset, or I don't know, the, uh, what would be aggressive, but they just that they're not expressing these emotions. There's just sometimes their way of speaking culturally wise. That's another thing to add before the break. So that's okay.
Thank you, Margareta. Yes, we spoke about the fact that Israelis are outspoken as they, as a culture, and they like to voice what's on their, on their mind. But, sometimes expressing emotion is also an individual kind of a thing, speaking loudly and being, more assertive does not necessarily allow for, intimacy. It kind of sometimes inhibits intimacy. So yeah, it's the complex.
Not all of them.
Complex. Okay, Yaakov, you want to have a comment as well?
About the Israelis, I'm sure that.
Oh yes, I love to make generalizations.
Right, exactly. So maybe a lot of Israelis are behaving like that, but I'm sure when you will meet your employer, the friend of the employer, other family members, you will see that there are some who are more we'll call them outspoken. They say what they think. They say everything, no matter who's the public. But there are also people who can be very shy, very low spoken, and you will find them everywhere.
Exactly. Like you and I.
Exactly.
Okay, everyone. So we're going to take a 5-minute break unless someone else wants to say something. And then when we come back, we're going to have Lisa with us, right?
I really hope so. She's not answering.
Okay.
I'm catching her back one more time. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. See you in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, everyone.